From the crossroads of the world in the heart of Times Square, welcome to Agent Brew, a podcast that percolates real estate insights. I'm your host, Eric Zollinger of Realty Co. Welcome to our viewers and listeners for yet another episode. You are not going to be disappointed with today's guest. It is such an honor and privilege to have Nadia Bartolucci of Douglas Elliman, Brooklyn with us today. Nadia, welcome. It's so good to see you again.
So good to see you too, Eric. It's been forever.
I feel like we're the OGs. Like we started as assistants.
Yes.
You were at Stribling. I was at Corcoran. We've worked for amazing people.
Yes.
And then now you are amazing yourself. So if you can give us your elevator pitch.
My elevator pitch. Well, again, thank you so much for having me, Eric. It's really fun to be here. As for my elevator pitch, I have been doing real estate since 2007. And I had a short stint in finance before that, and I realized that I was going to be better served by working for myself. And I also really loved real estate. And so I took that passion and I started working on the weekends in real estate. And I realized that, this was...
You couldn't just do the weekends.
I couldn't just do the weekends. So I walked away from a big Wall Street bonus and I started right as the world collapsed. But if you can start there, you can do anything.
I mean, listen, you put the time in when you really had time to
Exactly. There was a lot of time. But, I took that, ground zero moment and I went out and I networked and I came to New York City with no connections. So,
Okay. So where are you from originally?
I'm from downtown Boston. I grew up in the North End, third generation North Ender. And when I told my parents I was moving to New York, they said, see you in 6 months. And now it's been 23 years.
I love that. I had a similar story where they were just like, okay, so you're not acting.
Yeah.
When are you coming home? And I'm like, this is my home.
This is my home. I'm now here.
Well, this is great. So you started in Wall Street. So why real estate?
I was in the real estate principal investment division.
Got it. Okay,
And
so that makes
so
sense.
I got the bug. And it was fascinating to watch, assets being acquired and then repurposed and restructured and becoming, more valuable. So that was always in my head. And when I started in real estate, I had to learn the fundamentals. Most people come in, they join a team, they get fed leads, but I said, you know what? I am going to swallow any pride that I had, which was minimal at the time because I was so young and doe-eyed and didn't know what was ahead. And I was an assistant. I joined.
And honestly, I mean that was the road I took, and it's
the best.
You learn so much, but also you get to be connected to all the top agents.
Correct.
You get instant credibility because you're working firsthand on these deals.
Yes.
So people know that you learn by doing.
Exactly. And just to go back to the concept of working with the top agent, it's very helpful because you're then recognized under their umbrella and you're learning right from the best. And
so you started with Stribling on the Upper East Side, but now you're the queen of Brooklyn. How did that happen?
It's a good question. I 13 years ago never even wanted to move to Brooklyn. We were in the Lower East Side and we were looking to buy in the East Village and it wasn't working. And so we had family that had moved to Brooklyn and they said, just come on, just see what it's about. And we went over there and we went to Park Slope, which was very foreign to me, very far away from Manhattan.
What year is this now?
This is now 2013.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it was already pretty established.
Yeah, it was, but still, it was established, but still very foreign. There weren't a lot of, notable restaurants and, boutiques and things like that. And, that's obviously changed now. So we moved in there and then it felt like I was a trendsetter. And then all my friends started to move out to Brooklyn and, oh, you're in real estate, can you help me? And I didn't have a choice. I had to throw myself in. I had to learn the neighborhoods. I had to learn the blocks. And it really paid off because then I became my friend's go-to Brooklyn broker. And
it's almost like a Sex and the City Miranda story.
Exactly, right? There were cabs in Brooklyn, though, by the time I moved there. Okay. So I had that going. But no, I loved it, and I loved the pace of it, and I loved, the brownstone living. And, Brooklyn's a very different animal. You're not in an elevator building likely.
Right.
You're going to be in a brownstone, you're going to be in a walk-up. I'm the proud owner of a fourth floor walk-up, which I love tremendously. I can see the city every day from my bedroom window. It's very inspiring.
Which is why you're also very much in shape. My first 11 years here, I lived on the third or fourth floor walk up, and it helped my cycling a lot. Let me just say that.
My one rule when we moved to Brooklyn was I had to, from my window, see Manhattan. So both apartments that we've owned in Brooklyn, I could always see Manhattan.
Wow.
I needed that moment that inspires me every morning.
Yeah.
And, it's always right there. It's never too far away. But no, and then, I became very well versed in it. And, in addition to my resale, I started working with a few developers.
Mm-hmm.
And, I got the bug for how fascinating that was.
New development is awesome.
Exactly.
I mean, listen, I caught it, and when I went to Related, and I never stopped. It was incredible.
But it was this full circle moment of, I got the bug for real estate by, learning how to repurpose assets and provide value add. And so here I was again, now doing this, in these smaller, brownstones, either making them full beautiful townhomes or, 2, 3, and 4 unit condominiums.
Which, by the way, I literally was just on the phone with my friend Heather Wise, who did Front in York. And she's like, I know Nadia, please say hello. So
she's so fantastic. She's great.
So, it's all about relationships.
Exactly.
And how big is your team now? And what would you say is your team's biggest challenge?
My team consists of Brandon, Alex, Claudia, and Jonathan, and then I have Caroline, my assistant.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So for us, our biggest challenge is, making sure that we have agents, servicing everything appropriately and
7 days a week.
7 days a week, and we have to be understanding that we're human. People are going to need, time off every now and then, and that's fine. I am humane. But I think that the biggest challenge is just being sure that we remain diversified, because it can be very,
diversified as far as buyer versus seller, or new development versus rental versus...
New development versus rental versus resale.
Got it.
Because, as Howard Lorber said to me very early on, never ever lose your resale business. It's always going to be there. It's that steady. New development ebbs and flows. It's cyclical. And so, I always tell the team, they get very excited. Oh, I'm going on a project that's great. I'm like, don't forget your resale. It's extremely important. Get those mailers out. Have the coffee with those renters. Like, those are going to be the steady clients and your new pool of referral sources all the time.
So what would you say over your long career, what is a win and why is it important to you?
For me, it's a really good question. I think the win for me is, being able to wake up and doing what I love. Many people wake up and they go to work and they pay their bills and they have their savings, and then
It's a job.
It's a job. It's just a job. And I hear that sometimes with people and friends. Oh, it's just a job, But it's
not.
It's not. It's a lifestyle. It's my passion. I live and breathe it. And to me, that's a really big difference, because you need to have that in you to, have developers, buyers, sellers, renters, want to work with you, because it's not just a job. Real estate is extremely emotional.
I found the Equinox campaign, because it happened to coincide with when I was on the Caledonia, the first Equinox-inspired lifestyle.
Yes.
It's not fitness, it's life.
Exactly.
And I'm just like, oh, it's not a job. It's life. It's your passion, and it's what drives you. So
No, I
for people that
agree.
just totally, that aren't driven, I'm like, wait, how can you?
Yeah.
Why are you just?
I
Doing
don't
that?
understand. Like, what? But no, whenever I interview a new team member, they ask me, what are your expectations? What are my hours? And I said, so the way I will reframe it to you is, Real estate is a lifestyle. You have to integrate it into your life. That doesn't mean 1,000 hours a week. You know, you give yourself your personal time, work out, do
So
your
do you
meditation.
have boundaries yourself?
As a team leader, I have to have minimal boundaries.
Right.
You know, obviously, Saturdays, I try very hard to keep to myself. That's my self-care day. That's my wind down day.
Which for all of our viewers and listeners, who that's going to be so foreign to them if they're in real estate anywhere else outside of New York.
Yes.
Because
I know.
it is, maybe it's because we have a very high Jewish population,
Yeah.
and nobody shows on the Sabbath, that I think gives us that opportunity
Yes.
to not work on a Saturday.
But I will say though, in the beginning, I was every day. I was working on Saturdays. Like this is
Well, if you're in new development, you're open 7 days a week.
100%.
I guess, and unless you're part of a orthodox site that won't allow you to be open 7 days a week.
That's correct.
But wow, so any transformational losses during your career that you were able to turn around and pivot and make it a win?
That's a very good question as well. What I will say is the key to continuing to push forward and be successful is don't be afraid if a professional relationship is not working to let it go. That doesn't mean have this Jerry Springer moment where everyone's like, no, that's, you finish the deal in a professional way and you shake hands and you move on, and that's okay. Because if it's not working for you, it's likely not working for them. And it's not meant to be this negative, horrible exchange, but when that ends, something else will come your way.
Right.
It always, always does. And it's very hard when you're young in the industry to understand that, because you want everything. You want it. I need it. Yes, I'm going to do it all. But if something isn't working, it's going to affect you mentally and emotionally, and you're going to, without realizing it, project that outwardly. And that's going to affect your business growth.
So I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but you've done a lot of new development. Mm-hmm. Have you ever lost a site or?
Absolutely.
And so you just have to pivot and move on. It might, sometimes those are the best gifts ever. 100%. As hard as it is to go through at the moment, it's actually quite great because, now I got my weekends back, or now I got this season back.
What's so great about it is when that moment happens, you're going to reflect on it, with, my personality, I'm going to be irritated, go do a double workout, and just
of course.
It is what it is. But, why did it happen? It doesn't happen because it means you weren't doing your job or weren't doing your job.
Not always. Sometimes that,
Sometimes when you get to the end of a large site, you don't need 4 agents, and they're going to release a few and then finish the site, with, 1 or 2 agents. That's okay. It's when you are mid-project and something happens, you have to really look in and find out what that was. And it's a good thing, because then you're going to understand what you need to do differently next time.
Right.
It's great. And, that is why, being a team leader, everyone has to be buttoned up. Everyone needs to know everything. And with my team, I run it in a very unique way where everyone knows all the projects. There's going to be a time where someone...
I love that.
You have to. What if someone's sick? What if someone is on vacation and you need a fill-in?
Yeah.
Everyone has to know all of the information. It's very important because you never know who you're going to run into. If someone's at an open house, they can tap in and do it. They need to know what's going on.
So what does success mean to you?
Success to me means being... Oh, it's a really tough one to answer.
It really is.
It's like you gotta really think about that one.
Or what, at the end of your career,
Yes.
what would it be that you would say was a success?
At the end of my career, what would be a success to me is to still keep my value book of business and know that I still have a dynamic team that is running it for me. And I might be doing something else when I'm 75. Maybe I'll be in Florida. I don't know. Up for discussion. Or Milan. I have no idea. There's a lot of options out there that are lovely. But I would want to know that, the time I put in wasn't just, she came in, she did this, she killed it for like 20 years and then she's out. I want to know that what I did made a difference. I want to have established, certain standards in neighborhoods. And I, of course, want my team to still, be handling the business and executing it even better than, when I was out there boots on the ground.
So let's play the gratitude game.
Okay.
The gratitude game is rose, thorn, bud. But because we are Agent Brew, we like to throw in a little bit of twist of coffee. And so this is the aroma. So do you like coffee? I love coffee too. I grind my own beans every morning. So that aroma as you're grinding the beans and you're brewing it, it motivates me. It gets me excited, gets me out of bed. So what motivates you, Nadia?
What motivates me to get out of bed is to really go out there and continue to set what I feel I've established as a very high standard of customer service in real estate. When I was even looking for a rental, I was very surprised, with the quality. I know exactly what you're saying. And I was like, this real estate test needs to be harder because this is not working.
Well, and that's what American Real Estate Association, which I've lived under Elliman now as a partner. I'm a founding member.
Yes.
And it's like we gotta raise the standards.
Yes.
I just moved to White Plains, and the guy couldn't even read didn't even understand the contract to know that he had all the wrong numbers in the wrong area. And I'm like,
you're like, let me do this.
It's a fill in the blank contract. At least, what is this? So
Yeah, but no, it's just to continue to set a certain standard. And it's very important because all you have in this industry is your reputation.
True.
That's it. You don't have anything else. And there's a slip up, there's, something misrepresented, it's going to affect you. It will reverberate for a while, depending on what it is. So it's, getting up, being excited to, set that standard, crush it, and, just, be happy. It makes me, happy to see my team happy and see my clients happy and, getting the results they want.
So the second bud is the brew. So this is that first cup of coffee. Yes. It gets you going. It sustains you. It might even be, what is your why?
What is my why? My why is that, I grew up in a household where my dad worked a lot. A lot. He'd even get up on Saturdays and work from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. That way he could just spend the afternoons with us. And my why is because, I have had to do that, to get to where I am, but now I can sustain everything in a different way. And for the people I love, I want everyone to be comfortable and happy around me. And that is my why. And I learned that, early on, from my father's work ethic.
So the grounds is the next part, like that thorn in your side. Is there anything frustrating you today that you're trying to work through, or that's annoying you that you're like, oh, I just gotta figure out a way to get over this?
Watching innocent buyers meet their street easy lead agent outside of my open house. That is this big thorn. You watch from the windows and you're like,
because you can spot it from a mile away.
You can see it. The agent's shown up early. The buyer. No, but
which I'll admit, I've only done it once, and they ended up being some of the best buyers I've ever had.
I did it once too because it was new.
Yeah.
It was hip, right? Back in the day.
I mean, we spent a huge referral for it, but it's like it was the first time anybody ever listened to everything I ever.
But I'm so honest that I said, hi, so this is why I'm here. And they were like, okay, cool. Let's go look at apartments. Thanks for your honesty. So it's important to be honest. No, but
100% always, right?
But no, in seriousness, I think the thorn in my side is, it's the continued understanding that, everyone is, out for a piece of the pie. And, you go out and you do things to the best of your ability and you represent your clients to the best of your ability. But, you're not alone. There's someone else there, nipping at your toes, and it might not be being done the right way. And like, this is why I always, tell my team that there are many thorns out there, but just continue to display the highest standard, which I've taught them, and, everything should go okay.
So the last part is the fresh beans or the bud. So, and it's also one of the reasons why we're doing this podcast, because we want to be able to have an opportunity for agents to say what's coming, right?
Yes.
Like, is there a new exclusive? Is there a new marketing campaign that you're working on, or a new building you're going to release that you'd like to share?
Well, if anyone wants to move to Park Slope, I'm bringing on 3 beautiful new condominium projects this spring.
Oh, wow.
Yep, and I have
New construction or
with existing brownstones. So brand new on the inside,
okay.
Original, building envelope on the outside. And
are these brownstones that have been put together and then?
No, they're in a couple different locations.
Okay.
And I also have some beautiful townhouses that I'm going to be launching. One in Park Slope, and one in Borum Hill.
Well, when we get ready to launch, I'll have Claire make sure we put the list and so we can promote.
That would be wonderful. But if anyone wants early access to anything, just let me know.
Fantastic. Well, okay. So this is now my favorite part of the episode. Everybody gets the same question. If you could give young Nadia a piece of advice, what would it be?
The piece of advice I would give young Nadia would be to have started real estate earlier. No, the real piece of advice is to learn as much as you can about the future. And what I mean by that, we're experiencing this moment in real estate where tech and AI are coming to this head. And it's coming to us at an extreme velocity, and whether that's because it's just very topical or, new softwares are rolling out, but it's to think ahead as to what, is coming. Like when we moved to the city, like there wasn't Instagram, I'm using a very basic example, but whatever that next thing is on the way, and it's to really learn and understand technology.
So you just bring up, since you brought this up, would you like to share with our viewership, do you have a favorite piece of technology today? Or software that you're using?
My iPhone.
No, I'm just kidding. Well, no, I mean, listen, in 2007,
my flip phone, 2007.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, these revolutionized everything for better or worse.
Yeah.
But, like, is there any particular program, like Claude, or that you really like? It's CRM?
Well, the CRMs are great. I would say, and I mean this, we really keep it very bare bones. Like, we're old school. My team, we all have access to, a master Google Drive and a master Dropbox always on our phone. Really. And people might eye roll and say, oh, you dinosaur, but you know what? Keeping it
still
simple,
use Dropbox too.
Keeping it simple is what you need. You just need to know where to go, how to get it, and keep moving. That's it.
Fantastic. And we're going to keep moving on. So is there any particular favorite motivational quote or positive quote that you'd like to share?
It's very simple, which is the basis of my business. And it's just to never say no and always say yes, because you never know where it's going to lead.
We literally were just talking about this earlier today in the office. Claire and I were, because I'm like, Claire, did you notice this person said, yes, I think I can do it. And she let someone else be the one to say no, because it was so smart. I'm like, oh, I hope you saw that, right? Because at Related, for us, it was always through David Wine, Never say no. Always figure out how you can say yes
Yeah.
without saying no.
I love David Wine.
It's
He's great.
a brilliant,
He is
an
wonderful. I was
icon,
with him
a
on
legend.
Quay Tower when I was on the original sales team of Quay Tower.
I didn't realize that.
Brought in
Okay.
effective during COVID. Double mask,
Wow.
double gloves, welcome home.
So you worked at the Quay Hospital.
Yes, basically. But what I loved about him is when you bring him an offer, you know, you go, a lot of sponsors on these larger projects, no, come back to me with something else.
He's brilliant.
I know.
Literally brilliant. David Wine, just know that you're one of my heroes and mentors.
He's great.
You know, it's I learned from him conciseness is key,
Yes.
brevity,
Yes.
but one word can change the entire
Correct.
vibe,
And tone.
tone, everything.
Correct.
And I mean, I don't think this man is given enough credit in our industry because he is legendary, and I think he's the cornerstone of why Related is successful today.
No, I can agree with that. He's wonderful. I would always go to him for questions and advice. And actually, I still do. I think I talked to him in the past year about something.
Wow.
He's a great person.
So I'm not surprised that is your quote. So
Yeah.
I love that. Now I always like to use a quote from Zig Ziglar because my father was a big Zig fan, and so he imparted that to me. This is what I thought for you. Lack of direction, not lack of time, is the problem. We all have 24-hour days. That's lack of direction, not lack of time, is the problem. We all have 24-hour days because you've always been focused. You've always been such a hard worker and crusher of the industry because you've been so successful, and it's such an honor to have you be part of Agent Brew. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And with that, thank you for tuning in for yet another episode of Agent Brew and Agent Brew Executive Sessions. I'm your host, Eric Zollinger, reminding you it's a great day for real estate.